What should our business be? What will our business be? Aim at adaptation to anticipated changes. It aims at modifying, extending, and developing the existing, ongoing business. But there is a need also to ask, what should our business be? What opportunities are opening up or can be created to fulfill the purpose and mission of the business by making it into a different business? Businesses that fail to ask this question are likely to miss their major opportunity. Wow. Next to changes in the society, economy, and the market as a factor demanding consideration in answering the question, what should our business be? Comes of course, innovation, one's own and that of others. Just as important as the decision on what new and different things to do is planned on. Systematic abandonment. Wow, systematic abandonment of the old that no longer fits the purpose and vision of the business, no longer conveys satisfaction to the customer or customers, no longer makes a superior contribution. An essential step in deciding what our business is, what it will be, and what it should be is therefore systematic analysis of all existing products, service, processes, markets, and uses, and distribution channels. Are they still viable? And are they likely to remain viable? Do they still give value to the customer? And are they likely to do so tomorrow? Do they still fit the realities of population and markets of the technology and economy? And if not, how can we best abandon them? Or at least stop pouring in the future resources and efforts? Unless these questions are being asked seriously and systematically, and unless managements are willing to act on the answers to them, the best definition of what our business is, will be, and should be, will remain a pious platitude. Energy will be used up in the defending yesterday. No one will have the time, resources, or will to work on exploiting today, let alone to work on making tomorrow. Defining the purpose and mission of the business is difficult, painful, and risky, but it alone enables a business to set objectives, to develop strategies, to concentrate its resources, and to go to work. It alone enables a business to be managed for performance. The basic definition of the business and of its purpose and mission have to be translated into the objectives. Otherwise, they remain insights, good intentions, and brilliant epigrams that never become achievements. 1. Objectives must be derived from what our business is, what it will be, and what it should be. They are not abstractions, they are the action commitments through which the mission of the business is to be carried out, and the standard against which performance is to be measured. Objectives, in other words, represent the fundamental strategy of the business. Wow. Let me repeat it again, okay? Objectives, in other words, represent the fundamental strategy of a business. 2. Objectives must be operational. Objectives must be operational. They must be capable of being converted into specific targets and specific assignments. They must be capable of becoming the basis as well as the motivation for work and achievement. 3. Objectives must make possible concentration of resources and efforts. They must win now out of the fundamentals among the goals of the business so that the key resource of men, money, and physical facilities can be concentrated. They must, therefore, be selective rather than the economic encompass everything. Haha. Okay? They must, therefore, be selective rather than the encompass everything. Right. 4. There must be multiple objectives rather than a single objective. Much of today's lively discussion of the management by objective is concerned with the search for the one right object. This search is not only likely to be as unproductive as the quest for the philosopher's stones. It does harm and misdirects. To manage a business is to balance a variety of needs and goals. Wow. To manage a business is to balance a variety of needs, issue, right? And goals. And this requires multiple objectives. Right. 5. Objectives are needed in all areas on which the survival of the business depends. The specific targets, the goals in any area of objectives depend on the strategy of the individual business, but the area in which objectives are needed are the same for all businesses. For all businesses depend on the same factors for their survival. Wow. A business must be able to create a customer. A business must first be able to create a customer. There is therefore a need for a marketing objective. Business must be able to innovate, or else their competitors will render them obsolete. There is a need for an innovation objectives. All business depends on the three factors of the production of the economist, that is, on human resources, capital resources, and physical resources. There must be objectives for their supply, their employment, and their development. The resources must be employed productively, and their productivity has to grow if the business is to survive. There is a need, therefore, for productivity objectives. Business exists in the society and the community, and therefore has to discharge social responsibilities at least to the point where it takes a responsibility for its impact upon the environment. Therefore, objectives in respect to the social dimensions of the business are needed. Right. Finally, there is a need for profit. Otherwise, none of the objectives can be attained. Yes, they all require effort, that is cost, and they can be financed only out of the profit of a business. They all entail risks. They all, therefore, require a profit to cover the risk of potential losses. Profit is not an objective, but it is a requirement that has to be objectively determined in respect to the individual business, its strategy, its needs, and its risks. Wow. Objectives, therefore, have to be set in these 8 key areas. Yes. 1. Marketing. 2. Innovation. 3. Human resources. 4. Financial resources. 5. Physical resources. 6. Productivity. 7. Social responsibility. 8. Profit requirements. Objectives are the basis for work and assignments. They determine the structure of the business, the key activities that must be discharged, and above all, the allocation of people to tasks. Objectives are the foundation for designing both the structure of the business and the work of individual units and individual managers. Objectives are always needed in all 8 key areas. The area without specific object will be neglected. Wow. unless we determine what we will be measured and what the yardstock of the measurement in an area will be, the area itself will not be seen. The measurements available for the key area of the business enterprise are still haphazard by and large. We do not even have adequate concepts, let alone measurements, except for market standing. For something as central as profitability, we have only a rubber yardstick, and we have no real tools at all to determine how much profitability is necessary. In respect to the innovation and even more to productivity, we hardly know more than that something ought to be done. In other areas, including physical and financial resources, we are reduced to statements of the intentions. We do not possess goals and measurement for their attainment. However, enough is known about each area to give a progress report at least. Enough is known for each business to go to work on objectives. We know one more thing about objectives: how to use them. By the way, the meaning of objective is a thing aimed at or sought, a goal, right? Objective is goal. We know one more thing about objectives: how to use them. If objectives are only good intentions, they are worthless. They must be transformed into work. Yes, they must be transformed into work. Like what is happening in quantum physics, right? Is an electron transformed into something else, for example, photon and something else. Everything is in dynamic equilibrium, right? Like what is happening in the physics. Like what is happening in the mathematical transformation, formula calculation transformation. So if objects are only good intention, they are worthless. They must be transformed into work, and work is always specific. Always has or should have clear, unambiguous, measurable result, a deadline and specific assignment of the accountability. A deadline and a specific assignment of accountability. Yes. Because you have to measure what was done and what wasn't done when you do something for your objectives, goals, right? So to be analyzed, right? To be analyzed, you have to do you have to make it clear, unambiguous, measurable result, deadline, and specific assignment of the accountability, right? But objectives that become a straitjacket do harm. But objectives that become a straitjacket do harm. Objectives are always based on their expectations, and expectations are at best informed guesses, right? So hypothesis, right? Building hypothesis. Objectives express an appraisal of factors that are largely outside the business and not under its control. The world does not stand still. The proper way to use objective is the way an airline uses schedules and flight plans. The schedules provides for the 9 o'clock a.m. flight from Los Angeles to get to the Boston by 5 p.m. But if there is a blizzard in Boston that day, the plane will land in Pittsburgh instead and wait out the storm. The flight plan provides for flying at 30,000 feet and for flying over Denver and Chicago. But if the pilot encounters turbulence or strong headwinds, he will ask flight control for permission to go up another 5,000 feet and to take a Minneapolis-Montreal route. Yet, no flight is ever operated without schedule and flight plan. Any change Any change is immediately fed back to produce a new schedule and flight plan. Unless 97% or so of its flight proceed on the original schedule and flight plan, or within a very limited range of deviation from either, a well-run airline gets another operation manager who knows his job. Objectives are not fate. Objectives are not fate. They are directions. They are directions, right? Orientation. They are not commands. They are commitments. They do not determine the future. They are means to mobilize the resource and energies of the business for marketing of the future, making of the future. Wow! Again, objects are not fate. They are directions. They are not commands. They are commitments. They do not determine the future. They are means to mobilize the resources and energies of the business for the making of the future.